Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Thursday, August 14th. And so 36, 37, 38, day 38. I have to do my math. And we are at day 38 in the Big Brother house. I'm practicing for when I'm on Big Brother that I can keep track of these things, right? Yes, never happening, but we're making jokes here. So, I have more time this morning. I'm a bit more caught up. Although, honestly, I haven't watched last night's episode. Which I should go back and watch last night's episode because stuff went on. But I saw enough online chatter. I know what went on in last night's episode. So I'm going to share that. But I should go watch it just to see it. But I'm still kind of annoyed that they kept stuff from us to show on last night's episode, in my opinion. Like the whole Rachel or Zach and Rachel punishment, right? That still's really kind of annoyed me. And that bleeds through to potentially tonight that they could block more stuff from us tonight. So, but let's talk through stuff. Let's get to the nitty gritty first. For those of you that just want to very quick, tell me what's going on. There's a vote tonight. Somebody's getting evicted. I would say it is tentatively that Keanu is the most at risk. He probably needs to win the blockbuster competition tonight to stay. If he manages to win it, it will come down between Zach and Vincent. Now, between Zach and Vincent, I would say that Zach will probably get voted out. But I am not locked in on that. I'm really not. Something could happen today. Not sure. And I would say that if it came down between either Zach or Vincent against Keanu, that Keanu would go. So there's your math, right? Most at risk is Keanu. Next at most risk is Zach. That would mean that Vincent should stay no matter what. But I am not completely 100% sure that's going to be the case. I mean, we were talking about tie votes potential. Because it is a tie vote week, you have the potential with having a split vote. So I'm just not sure. But let's just go with that, all right? So it should be that either Keanu or Zach is the one walking out. Now, if Zach walks out, that means he will have not used his power on Monday when he could have to save himself, right? So people are putting this on a Marcellus level of quote stupidity, and multiple people have said that, and I kind of just, I don't know, it's different. It's so far removed from that version of Big Brother that I can't throw that on Zach. It's just not the same to me. Marcellus, it was a much simpler game back then. That there was no reason for Marcellus not to do that. That I don't even remember. I mean, I don't even remember what his logic in of doing that was. But he got himself voted out because he didn't use his power of veto when he should have. And that's what he was told. You should have used the power. Jason said, you should have used your power, and you didn't, and now I have to vote you out. So, anyways, back to this. It is what it is. Zach didn't use it. He also ended up telling Mickey that he had the power last night and that Morgan already knew. And he tried to couch it in this whole, well, I'm doing it because I didn't want Morgan to go up, and I'm doing it for the benefit of our four-person alliance with him and Morgan and Mickey and Vince. But Vince doesn't know yet. But he may tell Vince if they both survive. And he'll hold it out. But it's like, well, what happens if Zach's on the block next to Morgan or Mickey, or Morgan and Mickey, and then says, well, I'm just going to save myself. Bye, guys. I mean, I just don't, I don't know. He should have used it. It potentially might have meant Morgan left, but it is what it is. So that reveal happened. What else? So that happened on the feeds, not on the show. So I'm kind of jumping around here. I actually kind of took very quick notes to try to stay on target, but you know how that works. Back to last night's episode. The other thing that they showed that I was interested in kind of seeing was Zach's punishment, since we got blocked from it, right? But part of me is like, I don't want to see it. Screw you guys. If you're not going to show it to me on the feeds, I don't want to see it. And from what I understand, it was kind of more of, it wasn't an endurance punishment, really, other than they had to stay up. But it was more akin to the sunscreen punishments, right? Go out and you have to get sprayed at random times for 24 hours. In this case, it was, they had up to 12 hours, apparently. I don't know where the 8 hours came from, but they had up to 12 hours. And at random times, I think they would get called out of this jail cell that Rachel and Zach were in. And remember, Zach had to pick somebody to work with him, and Rachel volunteered as a strategy to spend time with him. But they basically had to sit in this mock jail cell and wait to be called out, to which point they would select a sack of pretend money out of a pile or out of a bin, or I just don't even know where, and they would have to open it. And within the 12-hour time limit, I think they had to find 4 bags of actual fake money, as opposed to exploding packets that would blow up in their face and splatter them with goop, blue goop. And I think it was 4. And they managed to do it within the time period. Thank goodness they did it quicker than if they'd taken the full time, we would have been denied even longer feeds. So that was the bit. Why we had to have that hidden from us, I don't know. They could have hidden just the opening. And at least that would have been, okay, well, they're hiding the opening, and we just would have seen Rachel and Zach sitting in a jail cell. But they hid the entire thing from us. And I really feel in some ways they crossed a fairly big line as far as denying us things on the feeds. And I hope somebody will ask Allison or Rich Meehan why they decided to do that. At which point we'll get a political answer and it'll be bullpucky, but you know what? At least point out to them that the community of live feeders who have supported this show for 25 years was kind of really upset that we were denied live feeds 24/7, et cetera, et cetera. They could have, they would say, well, we showed you the live feeds, just not the backyard. But they could have showed us Zach and Rachel sitting in their jail cell. They could have showed us the backyard and everybody talking to them and just not shown us the jail cell. They could have shown us, but they completely blocked the backyard from us for that whole period of time. I don't know. I'm still salty about it, as you can tell. It's over. It is what it is. But that's one of the reasons I didn't watch last night's episode, because I'm like, I don't know. Part of me just doesn't want to. So that was that. Okay. Another thing that happened yesterday that I caught was Mickey speculating as she was talking to Catherine, actually. And she's using M&Ms for doing scenarios, and she did a lot of that yesterday. And as she was talking to Catherine, she mentioned that there's only 2 more weeks left in the blockbuster. And it's like, what? Huh? Where did you get this? And it's her speculation because she thinks the jury's going to start in 2 weeks, I guess. But she has no information. She has no additional information that we don't have. It's just her gaming everything out. So I just found that interesting that she said there's only 2 weeks left. It could be this week. I don't know. And we're just not sure. But there was that. Which brings up the wall competition that we've been told, thank you, Dingo, is going on tonight. And so whoever gets evicted, this we talked about this yesterday a little bit, I think I did, or if not yesterday, the day before, about will they have to be in their costumes. Either Keanu or Vincent, at the very least, will be in the house at the end of tomorrow night's episode, right? One of them at the very least, possibly 2 of them. And will they have to compete in the wall competition in their costumes? And my answer would be no, although, as someone pointed out, maybe Keanu would have to compete without his prosthetic rear end, and maybe Vincent would have to compete in his sleeping egg costume, which is more of just like a soft white, costume like they would wear with a chicken costume or whatever. That potentially, maybe. I don't know. I don't think they should have to compete in a physical competition like the wall in that, because it's restrictive and it will keep them from being, I just don't think they should be penalized in that way. But that's me. I don't make the rules for sure. Otherwise, we would have watched the backyard. So the wall competition, generally, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, but I'll say it again. It generally favors smaller, lighter people, lower centers of gravity. So shorter people, lighter, less mass, so that when you're hanging, you're having to support less. It is not an equitable competition as far as, this is a big phrase among some of the community, and I'm not making fun of it, but equitable competitions that don't favor someone based on physical ability. A huge chunk of the community wants to see more equitable competitions. The problem is when you get physical, it's hard to make competitions equitable and physical. And in this case, body mass just really makes it tough, especially when you're leaning out your center of gravity. That's why it tends to be people that are shorter, because their center of gravity is lower. It's going to be closer to the wall. It's going to be easier for them to stay up. They will not be under as much stress when it's leaning out, etc., 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 etc. So, people favored. Morgan seems to think she's going to stay on the wall to the bitter end, but she's tall. She's not short, but she is small as far as weight, mass. So, could be. I would think Lauren, potentially. It's more for Lauren, it'd be more of a willpower thing. I don't know what her willpower is, and she could be rock solid determined. We'll know, but I don't know. Not sure. Catherine, potentially, right? And then after that, I can't even tell you. I'm not sure. Maybe Vincent, because of he's not a big guy. Definitely not people like Keanu. Probably not Zach, unless people don't try very hard. These things used to last multiple hours, and now we're lucky if we get 2 hours out of them. So, and it all depends on how safe everybody feels. These are all things that weigh into this wall competition. So, hard telling. We'll have to see if we get to see, and there is still a very good potential that we won't get to see any of it on the feeds, because that's been the modus operandi for them this year. But they could totally surprise us and bring the feeds back as soon as the show's over and have them on the wall. I just don't know. We'll know. We'll talk about it tomorrow, right? What else? Well, I know. I probably will post about this if I have time today at any point. Adrian has the opportunity to do a thing, and I've been holding this in my personal back pocket. And somebody else may have already talked about it, but I thought if Adrian wanted to, Adrian has that. First of all, Adrian would need to be at home. Adrian would need to have the day off or the night off or whatever. If he's working, I don't know if he's working, or I don't know what Adrian's doing now that he's out of the house. He may be doing nothing. He may be back at home. He may be not paying attention. I have not followed Adrian. Don't know. But let's pretend that Adrian is active on social media and is talking to people and gets on live streams or does Twitch or whatever. Adrian could get on his wall, if it was shown on the feeds, and participate live with the rest of the house guests, right? Stand on the wall and go, I'm hanging out until the very end, and have his family or whatever help him do it and kind of simulate being at the wall at the same time. It'd be a lot. And a lot would have to fall into the right place, and it probably won't happen, but I thought of it and thought it was funny. And I may end up posting about it today if I get a chance, just to make a joke. But again, somebody else probably will before I do, because it's a pretty obvious joke to make. So we'll see. Anything else? That is about it for this morning, I think. I did want to give a shout out, of course, to all of you for listening, for sharing. The numbers are average this year as far as listeners that I can tell statistics-wise. I did venture onto YouTube today last night, because along with posting to all of the podcasting platforms, including, iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name whatever it is, along with my posting my podcast to all of those, I also set it up to post to a YouTube account. And it is, I think it's BB Gossip is the simple YouTube account. And so it posts on YouTube, and I went and looked because I was curious on how many listens are those averaging. I mean, there's over between 750 and 800 and some podcasts there, because it goes back. It took my entire library of my old podcasts and put them up there. So they're all there. The current season, as of right now, when I looked at the list, about between 15 and 20-ish listens each one of them has. So there's about 15 to 20 of you that is your source of my podcast, which is great, because I think it's another way that people can listen to it. And I'm fine with it. It doesn't cost me anything to put that there. And it's an easy way for people to find it. But I found that interesting, 15, like I said, 15-ish to 20-ish. And there's even a couple of comments there. I scrolled down. I think I scrolled down through all of this season's, and I saw 2 comments. And I can't remember who the people were that said it, but one of them was like, "Thank you for doing this." So I hearted it. And then another person said they missed the old Big Brother Gossip show. And yes, I agree. I do miss it. I've talked about it. I talked about it to my patrons last week. Specifically, I talked about the Big Brother Gossip show and all that. So, yes, I miss it. And it is what it is. But I want to say appreciation to those of you that are listening to it through YouTube, however you're listening to it. If you are leaving reviews anyplace else other than iTunes, I probably haven't seen them, because it's a pain in the butt to go look for reviews. And not that I would expect that you think I would go find your reviews to read them. If you have specific feedback you want to give me, my answer would be, well, then send me an email or post at me on Blue Sky, or tweet at me on Twitter. I'll see those. Or, like I said, email me at ilovereality@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. If you put a comment on some site that you think I'm going to see, the odds are slim that I will. Although I will say my Spreaker radio, my Spreaker, it's called Spreaker Radio, whatever the Spreaker account is that I do all of this through, I do get an email when anybody leaves a comment. And the one person leaves a comment a lot, because I get emails, is Iowa Grandma Deb. Deb, thank you for your comments. I do see them. I get an email alert anytime somebody leaves a post there or a comment there. So almost every day, Deb posts a comment saying hello, hi, how are you, those kind of things. So I do see them, and she knows I'm not like responding to them, but I do yell at her back at her on here. So there we go. That's what I got. Thank you to all of you that listen to me, that interact with me on online in whatever fashion. And I'm still I'm not discouraged by this season. I'm really not. I know one other thing. Oh, damn it. Yes, John, you can laugh at me. I posted yesterday that it's kind of interesting that after tonight, we'll be down to 8 women and 4 men. And I have not verified this stat, but I know I saw at least, I think Big Brother Nutters is the account, posted something that this is the first time it's ever been that slanted in favor of women, if that's what it gets to. And I haven't done the math to figure it out. I don't think I did a chart last year showing, women versus men, but I think it was at a lower count. I thought it was 10 or less. So I don't think I've done 12. But if it is the case that 8 versus 4 is the highest slanted in favor of women ever at the 12 people level, then is that a testament to women alliances? Because I would say it's in spite of the fact that they couldn't get a real women's alliance together this year. But it also says that, well, look, they finally managed to get a very strongly favorable women's slant to the house. Can they keep it? I don't know. Depends on who the next one is. If one of them in that house said, okay, ladies, it's time to get rid of the rest of the men, they could do it. Unless a man wins the power of, even if the man wins the power of veto, well, no, if the man won the head of household, he could only nominate women and keep a man from leaving. That could happen, but it's not going to happen. By the way, the women are not coordinated in that way, and neither are the men. It's just been somewhat luck of the draw that more women haven't left. In this case, Kelly was a strong target, and she's managed to save herself every time that she was up there. I mean, or close to it. So or someone else is gone. So it's been a really weird season. It's not a season that the women have engineered their way to an 8 versus 4. But hey, it's worked out, and I'm sure they may eventually kind of talk about it and notice it. And it's great. I don't care. It could be an all women final, or it could be an all women, get down to 8 women, and the next 3 are all men. I don't care. I'll watch 8 women battle it out. I could get really mean and catty, right? So, whatever, however it works, I'm happy with it. But we'll see. We'll see how Big Brother spins it, if it gets any closer to continuing that trend. And now with that, I am done. Have a good evening or good afternoon. Again, I think it's likely that Keanu or Zach will be talking to Julie. And we'll see how the rest of it plays out. Here's fingers crossed that we do get to see tonight's wall competition on the live feeds. And tomorrow I'll be talking to you at this time about who won it and how much we got to see. All right? Be well, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.